Good afternoon. It's 2 o'clock. I'd like to call to order the January 30th, 2024 Oklahoma City Water Utilities Trust meeting. Our first item of action is Roman numeral number 2, approval of the minutes from January the 16th, 2024. Does anybody have any comments, changes, or questions about the minutes? If there are none, I'll entertain a motion. And a second. Please vote. The minutes are approved. The next item of business is the consent docket. Today we have 13 items before us. It includes plans for bids, an addendum ratification, contract awards, change orders, amendments, some agreements, and a revocable permit. There are, like I said, 13 items, A through M. We can take all with one motion, please. A second. Please cast your votes. The consent docket is approved. The next item of business is the concurrence docket, where we find two items. One is approving plans and specifications to be advertised for bids, and the second item is a permanent easement. Does anyone have any questions or comments regarding the concurrence docket? If none, I'll entertain a motion and a second. We have a motion and a second. Please vote. It passes. Item number 5 on the agenda is emergency construction contracts, which is my understanding we have none today. So I'll move on to item number 6, which is items for individual consideration, which also we have nothing today. This is really tough. We have then item number 7, which is items from trustees. There being none, I will now go to item number 8, which is the general manager reports.
Mr. Chairman and trustees, we don't have anything to add. If you have any questions about the pro forma, our business manager, Vanessa Aguilar, is in the audience, and she can answer any questions.
Any questions, comments about either the report or the pro forma? Oh. No. All right, we're at item number 9, citizens to be heard, and it's my understanding that we have, is it Claude Seipert is here today to visit with us. Would you like to come forward at this time, sir?
Yeah, I came a couple of times and just sat back here, but I have I put in a request with who I thought, a hired attorney, and to get a water from Oklahoma City out of city limits, and made an application with Dustin Seagraves. He's the engineer that I use developing land. I develop residential and commercial land in Oklahoma City, and I have since 1960. And I've got 150 residential lots now. Started with 250, I'm down to 150 that we're selling, slowed down a little. I've got a couple more subdivisions. I've developed a lot of land, and I've always used the engineer that's assigned to that area, anything I go to do. And we had some work, I had a B1 of 6,000 feet of sewer line for B1 that the sewer is for you guys, for this committee. And just got it completed and with the engineer. And I mentioned to him that I was having trouble getting water. I'm on Northwest Highway, right across from the big water tower out there, the blue water tower. And anyway, it's Piedmont's water, but they've made a ruling that there's no outside water to be, you can't get any water outside of their city limits, which is just a new move they've made. And I had it all figured out, I thought. But anyway, I have an attorney that he was working with Dustin, and we were working to get everything filed. And we'd been working with him about 6 or 8 months while I was doing this other work. But we got a little note from Mr. Browning about a month ago, said that I couldn't have a 4-inch meter to run a line out to this subdivision. And I don't have any way to get water. And I've got a really nice subdivision, streets cut, and I'm in here today to see if I can get some water.
Okay.
If 4-inch will drain the city too much, which he said it would, he's trying to get a $1 billion water line to come to the water system. And I could use a 2-inch to get started with and hold me for a couple of years until Oklahoma City got their water works fixed.
Well, it sounds like, sir, you've done a lot of development over the years, and Mr. Browning is not here today, but we do have our lawyer, Craig Keith, who may be able to comment on this, and I think he may have spoken to your lawyer. Can you kind of bring us up to speed, Craig, please?
Yes, Mr. Seibert, I'm Craig Keith, and I had emailed with your lawyer and received his request, which I confirmed with Mr. Browning, and therefore led to the email or the discussion that you had with him. At this time, the City of Oklahoma City is not taking on new outside the city customers because we are waiting for the completion of the 72-inch line from Atoka. We have a concern that even when our existing facilities are fully pumping, that Draper Lake continues to goes down, even during wet years like we had last year. And for that reason, we are not taking on any new customers outside the city limits.
Do you know the date that y'all made that decision?
No, I do not, sir.
See, I asked Mr. Browning that. It took me a week. The reason I came to this meeting a couple of weeks ago, whenever it was, is because my city councilman advised me because I couldn't get a Browning, according to the attorney, Browning made that decision. And he said I needed to talk to him. I tried for a week, and this meeting was coming up, and I talked to my councilman. He said, come, you can talk to him here. And so I did, and he met me before they all had the meeting and said, I'll talk to you back there. And I asked him what was the cutoff date? And do you have it in writing? And he said, no. He just turned me down on that one. And I said, oh, and I really think I've tried to get a hold of Mr. Seagraves, and I haven't been able to talk to him since this was turned down. And the attorney that Craig, I think his name was, that called my attorney, said that Dustin was really upset and surprised when he got the email. He got the email the same day we did. And we've been working on this for 6 months. I'm trying to get the subdivision ready where the city will accept, where they will let me buy the water for that. So it's kind of got a little bit out of hand. He never has told me a date that they started cutting people off from getting water. And I've never had a problem. I used to carry the water in my pickup meter and buy water from the fire plugs to keep the dust down on the streets while we're developing it. And there's a lot of places I've been using water, and I've never had anybody to tell me that I need to come to this board for anything about water. And, you know, I appreciate you guys, and I've made a lot of money in Oklahoma City, but I checked every way in the world, and it looked like Seagraves went with us to Piedmont, because we're half a mile from the water tower. He said, that's our water in that water tower, but he couldn't con them into letting us have a meter. They got a new manager, city manager, and he's got a what do you call it? Anyway, that they won't sell any more water out of the city limits of Piedmont. So they're going to, I know of people that they're going to them saying they're going to cut the water off because they're just going to sell water to people in the city limits, and that's a lot of people. But anyway, I don't want to take all your time.
I guess the thing I would say is it's not really a cutoff date. It's a capacity issue, and until we get this 72-inch line completed, we have a capacity issue. And I feel sorry for you, and it sounds like you've done a lot of great development in Oklahoma City, and we want to try to help you any way we can. But when we have a capacity issue, we just do.
You can't sell water out of a 2-inch meter or a 4-inch. Well, I can understand that if you make it a city-wide rule, but you got to have a starting date, and you got to make it stick. And he hasn't given me a starting date yet.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you get to capacity, you're
You
there.
don't have to give a starting date. You can just say, whoever you want to, say, well, we won't serve them.
Yeah, I just think it's an issue of capacity at this time. And that can change in the future once we get this 72-inch line complete. But I appreciate you being here today. If you'd like to talk some more to Craig after we adjourn, he'd love to visit with you. But I think we've kind of explained our position.
Are you Mr. Craig? Are you Craig?
I'm Craig Keith, yes, sir.
I'm Claude Craig.
Would you like to
Well,
talk to him after we adjourn?
I got one little problem.
Okay.
And if I've tried to get a hold of Dustin Seagraves, and I've tried to get a hold of his secretary. She helps him a lot.
So, sir,
And
Sir?
they have.
Dustin is in the audience. The issue is that Dustin works for Chris. We're all trying to provide you the appropriate response, and we've done that, okay? And
You don't
Dustin's
wanna-
not
you
going to
don't
be able to
wanna know
give you a
what I'm
different
fixing to
answer
say then.
than the answer we've already given you.
Are you telling me you don't want me to talk anymore?
No, I'm not saying that at all.
I was
He's
gonna
just
tell you
trying to
that.
point out that Dustin's here today, and we're more than happy to talk to you once we adjourn.
Dustin is here
Yes,
in the audience?
yes, sir.
Oh, I'll wait till I catch him.
Okay.
Okay.
Hey, thank you for coming today. I really appreciate
Well,
it, sir.
I'm sorry. I make a lot of money with Oklahoma City, and I haven't been to a city council meeting, and I usually just have my engineers. But this really, it's the prettiest piece of ground in Oklahoma I've got out there. Uncle John's Creek starts right up a ways, and it's a big creek all the way through it. It's come out and I'll sell you a piece of land.
Sounds beautiful.
I gotta have some water.
Thank you, sir. We're now at item 10 on our agenda, and that is adjournment. And folks, we are adjourned.